Hello everyone, I just want to tell you a quick story. The scene is in a courtroom in South Africa, and there is a frail old black lady who sat there in the corner, and opposite her are some white security officers who have been found guilty and implicated in not just her son's death but also her husband's. Some years before, these guys, one of them particularly, Mr. Van der Broek, turned up at her home, took her son out of the house and shot him in front of her. And worse still, they poured gasoline over him and lit his body in front of her. Several years later, the guys came back and they took her husband. She didn't know what had happened to her husband, but then some time after that, they brought the husband back to the house and down to a riverside where near where her home were, and she saw her husband tied to some wood, and they burned him alive in front of her. The last words that she heard her husband cry was, "Father, forgive them." As this court proceedings are going on, the member of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission comes to her and says, "So what do you want? What justice do you think should be upon this man, Mr. Van der Broek, who so brutally destroyed your family, has ruined your life?" And she pauses and then she responds and she says, "I want three things. First, I want to be taken to the place where my husband's body was burned so I can gather up some ashes and I can bury what might be left of him." She said, "Secondly, my husband and my son were the only family that I have. So I want you, Mr. Van der Broek, to become my son. I want you to come to the ghetto where I live twice a month, and I want to be able to pour out what little love I have left in my life into your life. And thirdly," she said, "and this is the wish of my husband, I kindly ask that some people would help me to walk across this courtroom so that I can embrace you and tell you that you are forgiven." On Sunday in A to J, we talked about three things that will help us become more like the family that God wants us to be. We said that we need to be a people of encouragement, that actually we need to use our words and our actions to build people up, not put people down. We said we need to be a people that are honest and open with one another, that actually HJ is a place where it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to show that. But in so many times in the Bible it tells us to carry one another's burdens, and we can't do that if we're not open and honest with one another. And the third thing was we need to be a people that forgive one another. And this story is a great picture, firstly, of God's forgiveness to us, but secondly, of actually the way as human beings we can forgive one another. That it's God's expectation that we forgive one another, but also He gives us the ability to do it. That we can be a people of the second chance. And I want to encourage you this week. Let's be a people of encouragement, of honesty and openness, and a people of forgiveness. Have an amazing week. See you at the weekend.